What's up, bitches? Yeah. What's up, motherfucker? Just practicing my cat calling. You ever like walk around with your friends that are like girls or women that are attractive, and then you're just walking on the street and you hear other guys like cat call at them? It's fucking awkward. It's like, hey, girl in the shorts, and you're just like walking by. And you're just like, hey, good job, not getting late, asshole. Keep doing that. It's totally opposite for me because on the street, I get a bunch of random people come up to me speaking Spanish. Because apparently dark brown Filipinos look like stone Mexicans. Which is ironic, because I'm usually walking on the street as a stone Filipino. So I was hanging out with my Filipino parents the other day, and my mom calls me over. She's like, Jay! They call me Jay. Jay, show me how to use the Netflix. And I'm like, the Netflix with an F, not a P, it's Netflix, Mom. She's like, yeah, whatever. And I grabbed the remote, and I was like, what do you want to watch? And she's like, put on Bloodsport. And I'm like, Bloodsport with Van Damme, okay. So I grabbed the remote, and I'm putting in like letter by letter in the search function, it's like B, L, O again. It's like, as I'm doing this, I'm getting frustrated, and she looks over at me, she's like, Jay, why are you like that? You're so impatient. This is why you're not married. And I'm like, what does this have to do with getting married? I'm just trying to show you how to use Netflix so you can watch a fucking shitty Van Damme movie. It's crazy. It's like, I'm not even thinking about getting married. I can't even commit to the 500 characters that you're limited to talk about yourself on Tinder, you know what I mean? Tinder is a wonderful place to judge somebody before you meet them and have sex with them. I've been finding 7 out of 9 swipes that like so many of these profiles are the same. It's so funny to me. So it's like, I don't know why certain women think that like having that Snapchat like dog or cat filter as your main profile is attractive. It's like, why would you do that? Or they always have like some kind of selfie like with their girlfriends right before they go out, Or they have that angel graffiti wings behind them, just standing like thinking they're all cute. It's like, no, it's just basic. And it's like, I noticed that a lot of the profiles would actually say, looking for fun and adventure, And it's like, if you're really looking for fun and adventure, you put your dating profile on Craigslist, casual encounters. And you'd really have an adventure, you know what I mean? Because you don't even know what gender you're getting. Not up to something on Craigslist. Speaking of Craigslist, anybody here looking for speakers or a laptop or anything like that? I mean, okay. Is that really a bit on Tinder and dating, or a shameless plug for me to get rid of old shit? One of my favorite qualities about my dad is that he's a real motherfucker. And if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? So I was watching TV with this motherfucker, and we're watching some kind of like sports highlights. You know what I mean? And my dad looks over at me and he's just like, Jay, they don't look like they're retarded. And I was like, you motherfucker. It's because we're watching highlights of the Special Olympics. Oh. That was a great reaction. Yeah. Ever notice how many white people are on TV all the time?
Yeah.
All the time, right? Yeah, so like, think about like Walking Dead. Everybody here watch Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, that shit takes place in the South. How many black zombies do you see? Exactly. Just don't. Don't get me wrong, I love white people. Because like I have more white friends now more than ever. And I like to think growing up watching the TV show Friends has trained me to hang out with white people. Like I get you guys now, it was always like a weird thing because I never really hung out with white people before. I lived in the valley, like the deep cut valley where everybody's Mexican or Filipino, you know? And, you know, for the longest time, I would measure like, because I've been dating a lot of white women more recently, and I feel like for the longest time, I would think me being with a white woman was a measure of how I know I made it in life. You know what I mean? Like when growing up, when I'd see an Asian guy with a white girl, I'd be like, damn, that motherfucker's cool. I want to be like him when I grow up. It's like a real life king and I. And then I started thinking about, you know, like, is that really me? Is that really what I want? Or is that just because like I keep watching TV? Or is that like social conditioning and like colonialism, you know? When I learned about colonialism, you know, basically where Europeans conquered different parts of the world for spices or spreading Catholicism or something like that, right? And in different parts of the world where colonialism existed, you know, they value fairer skin. And if you're darker skinned, you're considered a field worker, you know? And even you could even see it today, like watching TV in those different countries that like most of those people are white on screen. And don't worry, I'm not here to white guilt trip you. Somewhere. All the white people are like, Okay. Get to the funny shit, Josh. Shit's getting heavy in here. No, but what I'm getting at is like, you know, is that like really a thing? You know, like it just really had me question that for myself. You know? And it's just like, that's not really a thing anymore in terms of like darker and white anymore, really, because you see plenty of white people getting tans all the time, which are my favorite kind of white people. I actually worked at a tanning salon at one point for a few months. It was a fun, stupid job, but it was a fun job, and I used to have like I had some white people actually come in and be like, "Oh man, your tan looks great. Which bed do you use?" And I'm like, genetics, Filipino, but you should use bed number 3, you pasty motherfucker. I would wait for them to go inside and I would say that. Yeah, so colonialism. So it's like, you know, like part of it was like, you know, the European countries spent time and resources to travel around the world to get spices and shit, you know? Like they went to war with each other over this kind of stuff, to get salt, cinnamon, nutmeg, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, it sounds funny, because you can go to fucking Costco and get that Lari steak seasoning, but people died for that shit, you know? But it's like, you know, you think about it, they spent all the time and resources, take it someplace around the world, bring it back to Europe, so they can cook something and then it'd be like, that's a spicy, you know? It's like people died for that spice to season their steak, is what I'm saying. I can't even, at one point I actually had to, I love spicy food. And I actually had to cut it out at one point. What?
There you go.
What do you mean?
You like spicy food?
I do like spicy food. Yeah, I'm a product of colonialism, clearly. And, but I mean, like, I love it, but at one point I actually had to cut it out because I was detoxing. I did ayahuasca, and it's a mind, body, spirit healing ceremony, and you have to detox for it. So, like, you know, for a good month prior to it, like, there was like no sex, no spicy food, no meat for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I couldn't even masturbate.
Oh no.
With working internet and working hands, it's like But I did the ceremony. Like it's like I said, it was a mind, body, spirit healing ceremony led by a shaman, and it's a medicine that you take. And I did it to figure out my life purpose in this meat suit that we're traveling around in called life. You know what I mean? Trying to figure out shit, you know. And when I did it, it was interesting. Like really, just to go to show how much of a medicine it was. The first session that I did, there was a woman that had like this thyroid condition, and she was about to get like radiation chemotherapy. And she did the ceremony, and the next day she got a checkup, and that shit was gone. The doctor was like, "I don't know what you did. That shit's out of your body." And some serious stuff. It's really crazy, you know. And I feel like that's the reason why our government doesn't want us to do it. You know, but I'm not here to get political on you. I just encouraging you to do drugs, that's all. I mean, a medicine. It's a medicine. But yeah, I mean, you'll, on the medicine, you're like in a dark room, there's music, and you'll go through like every, like, emotion on it, you know? Like you'll have visions, people talk about seeing God, seeing aliens, living past lives, or like aliens like either in the sky or across the border, they're all there. But, you know, like, doing the ceremony, you know, like you'll go through all kinds of different emotions, like laughing, you know, not really much of an emotional guy, but you'll go through those various emotions. And you'll go through those various emotions and even bodily functions, you know what I mean? So there's like, you know, like shitting, farting, puking, ass grease, like all those things. You'll go through, like, on the medicine, because you're detoxing, all these things are coming out of your body. But there's like a toilet, don't worry. But, you know, like, I know I'm going to sound kind of fucking crazy, but at one point, I actually met one of my, I think I met one of my spirit guides. I got messages, you know, that's what happens. You get these messages. And, you know, she was telling me to be like, you know, Josh, go in the light and take a deep breath. And she was like, go fuck yourself. And I was like, what? It's not my spirit guide. I think it's my ex-girlfriend. Or maybe even my old English teacher that's created this insecurity complex that I'm clearly still getting over. But yeah, no, it's really some serious stuff, and I'm definitely happy I did it, and I learned a lot from it. And why am I telling you all this? Because you're like, Josh, you're fucking rambling. It's because I want you to join my cult. No, it's not a cult. It's seriously like it's seriously a medicine. But it, like, you know, when I did it, like I've learned a lot. Like I actually like saw all my dysfunctions inside of even me being in past relationships. Like when I saw these different things, like I physically just puked. I was like, holy shit, I'm an asshole. And you know, after doing it, like I actually really got that I just should just keep doing what I love to do in life. I was really afraid to leave one of my accountabilities as a sales manager, and I just fucking hated that job. It was unbelievably annoying, and I worked with mostly good people. But I actually just ended up leaving the job because I was just like, you know, like, fuck it, I'm just going to be a full-time creative person. I'm just going to do this thing. And, you know, after doing ayahuasca, I really just got that there's really nothing to fear. All there is love. And you could really create your life, and I can honestly say that I'm now living a happier, more balanced life. So, you know, I'm living out of my car now, banging hookers, and I'm doing all kinds of blow. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
I was in Manila earlier this year. I was out there for about a month. I got a chance to DJ, and it was fucking cool. I DJ on the side, just like every other asshole in LA. But which means I had a laptop. There was no, but I got a chance to DJ out there. It was awesome because it was one of those things I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. And when I got a gig out there, or a few gigs out there, it was at a few of the major clubs. It was really cool. You know, it was kind of like that. When you play a video game, it's like a life achievement unlocked. It's like, and you got some shit that like hovers over you. It's like Zelda. Like, it was exactly like that. That's almost. I'm pretty sure I did that right after 7. It's like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. But I meet this girl after I was done with the gig at this club, and super hot, really cute, speaks English, and she was great. You know what I mean? Like we danced all night, made out, great, right? And we ended up staying in contact, hung out a few times afterwards, and I could tell by her interactions that she really likes me. You know, like she was laughing at all my jokes. I'm really not that funny on like outside of this. And when we would go out to eat, she even offered to pay for half the bill.
Whoa.
Wow. Yeah, I know. It's like, I'll pay, you know what I mean? I'll pay, but I just like the fact that you said something, you know what I mean? And yeah, she was awesome. And when we were having dinner, she just kept asking me, and like, I was like, oh shit, she might get too attached, you know? Because I'm gonna be gone. And she just was asking me, she's like, oh, when's the next time you're gonna come back? And when are you leaving? And I was like, I don't know. You know, I'd probably be back maybe like in a year or so. And, you know, I was genuinely afraid that I was gonna hurt this girl's feelings. Sorry, he's a woman. And it was, and she tells me, like a few days later, she actually ends up telling me, she's like, hey, we gotta meet up. I gotta tell you something, but I don't want you to be mad. Yeah, I know. I know. Because I've got those kind of starters for a conversation where it's just like, hey, I got to tell you something, but I don't want you to be mad, which is pretty much saying, hey, I'm going to tell you something that's going to piss you off. That's exactly what she's saying. And I was like, oh shit, okay, so what is it? And she's like, you know, like, I've had conversations start off that way where, hey, I don't want you to be mad, like, I got a boyfriend, I'm married, I banged your dad. It's like, whoa, really? That motherfucker? Just kidding, that never happened. But what she actually ends up telling me is that she's a transgender. Yeah, like she was born a man. And it was like, okay, all right. And it wasn't like I was like mad or upset or anything. Because I was like, well, statistically this was bound to happen. I mean, you know what I mean? It was like, all right, just made out with somebody that was born a dude, whatever, fuck it. It's not like we had sex or anything, it's just what happened. And, you know, like, in the Philippines and throughout this whole thing, like, I've learned a few things. Like, one, Filipino men can be very convincing. Like she was like the waist up, she was gorgeous. You know what I mean? Waist up, she was hot, and you know, like, you know, I actually still think about those tits and rub one out every now and then. Post ayahuasca, I could do that now. So. What was it? Masturbating. Transgender. Okay, yeah. So she was a transgender, and it was like I wasn't even mad or anything like that. You know, I was just like, okay. But like I've heard of stories of like different parts of the world, and especially in Asia, of like tourists just going to different parts of the country, and guys taking a woman home, finding out that they were a transgender, and then just beating the shit out of them. It's fucked up. And it's like, you know, I can get it. You know, you take a girl home, feel her up, and feeling a bulge between the legs instead of a vagina is a real emotional handful. And that's shocking. It's like, oh shit, like, whoa. Oh, fucked up. Sorry. And I don't know, like having this conversation with her, like I really got, like I never really understood the whole world of transgender. You know what I mean? It's just like, wait, what? Like you don't want that? You don't want your dick? Like you want to be like you felt like you were born in the wrong body, and I never really understood why would you want to be in another gender, you know? Because like when I wake up and I pee, look at my dick, I'm like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? And then this person, it's like, you know, I want a different human hole that potentially blood comes out every once in a month, or whatever's normal. Sorry. And it's like, I don't know if there's like any real simple way to describe this. It's kind of like dessert. Like I like ice cream, I just don't like nuts. And I don't know, like when I was having this conversation, like I really felt for this person, because it's like when she told me that she was a transgender, like I immediately kind of just put her in the friend zone. And you know, we go from like flirting to like, oh, me being kind of distant. And I really got through our interactions, like she's gone through depression over shit like this, like, and it was horrible. Like I really kind of just got her whole world in that level of humanity, and thinking that, you know, like, wow, like it was hard for her to be friends with me because of that, you know. And it was like going from friends to me being in the friend zone. I was like, oh, it was like this weird thing. I was like, God damn it, I'm on vacation. Why are you gonna put me through all this shit? But it was like, you know, throughout that whole endeavor, it was like, you know, I really kind of learned that, you know, I really kind of just learned boundaries. You know, like not boundaries of convention, but boundaries of heart. And it was great because like after we worked through things, it's like we're still friends. You know, she gave me a happy birthday like about a month ago. It was cool. And I don't know, like after this whole thing, it's almost kind of just like now when I meet a woman or go out with her now, it's like, you know, I got a new interview question, which is, what kind of human holes you got? You know what's fucking annoying? Amber Alerts. Okay. Amber Alerts are so fucking annoying. And I feel like it's such a disturbing technology, you know what I mean? It's so fucked up. Like, you know, like, it doesn't matter what you're doing, somehow, like, it makes all these noises, and it sounds like a crime scene every time. And it's just like, what the fuck is that? You know? Always interrupts you. Like, this one time I was having sex with this girl, right? And, like, I'm pumping away. I was behind. I was like, pump it away. And I'm having a good time. I haven't checked in with her yet. At least I'm having a good time. And then Amber Alert goes off, and then it was just like, shit. It's like, you know what I mean? And there's nothing like hearing about a missing child to make you stop having sex, you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter, like, you know, like if you're like in a room full of people, you get an Amber Alert. You know, like it's like everybody's phone goes ape shit, and then they look at it. It's like, no, the Nissan. And then they just move the fuck on. It's just like, thanks for interrupting my day and my train of thought. And yeah, it's like, it's weird because statistically, every 40 seconds, a child goes missing. Every year, 800,000 children go missing just in the United States alone. So according to the Amber Alert system, fuck all those other kids. Because you only get like, what, 20 Amber Alerts a year? Doesn't make any sense. Totally fucked up. Do you guys feel like if an Amber Alert were to go off while you're having sex, you think that would stop you? No? No?
No.
No?
No.
You guys are probably the reason for Amber Alert. Which leads me to my next question. How many sex offenders in the audience tonight? So I was reading this article about, different ways that you can get registered as a sex offender in this country. So according to Business Insider, there's about 7 different ways that you can get registered and tried as a sex offender. So who here is like peed in public? Like, raise your hands. Okay, that's pretty much most of everybody, right? Which makes me like a 4 to 5 time back-to-back potential registerable sex offender. We're all in the same club. Great, congratulations. I feel like peeing in public, that should change. Think about like guys, like when we pee, it's like what merits is it? Like you shake it more than once, twice. It's like a menacing shake. It's more like a friendly nod, like I think they should look over these rules. I remember this one time I was hanging with one of my friends when she was drunk. It was the first time I ever saw a woman pee in the street. Oh my god. That shit was fucking weird. Because a woman has to pop a squat, and it's like it just comes out like a waterfall. It's weird. Because guys, we could actually spell our name and shit. So number 2, you can become a registered sex offender if you take a nude, like a selfie of yourself, if you're a minor, which I think makes sense. Number 3, visiting a prostitute. Anybody here visit prostitutes? Just there's but like, which I think makes sense, But I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like, we should just make prostitution legal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the oldest profession in the world, and you might as well make it safer for everybody, and at least $10.99 though. You know what I mean? Like, according to my tax guy, I don't know. But the other thing is, like visiting a prostitute, flashing your breasts in public. Anybody here flash their breasts in public? Yes?
Raise your hand, Steve.
Yeah. Which, I don't know, like that basically, makes me think about those Girls Gone Wild videos, or like just potential registerable sex offender conventions. Or the other way that you can become a registerable sex offender is if you have consensual sex as a teenager with another teenager.
What?
Yeah, weird. So who here is like lost their virginity under 18? Yeah, well, see? Potential registerable sex offenders. But the other one is like if you have sex with your sister. Yeah, no comment. I don't have a sister. It's just weird. The last way that you could potentially become a registerable sex offender is hugging another person.
What?
Yeah, so in Colorado, there was a 13-year-old boy that got tried and registered as an adult sex offender for hugging a girl or multiple girls too much. Fucking weird.
What?
Crazy, yeah, no, it's crazy. It's like, I mean, I know weed's legal in Colorado, but I know motherfuckers are getting so high out there that they're just out of their mind. And yeah, so a 13-year-old boy got registered as a sex offender. It's crazy to me. It's like, what kind of hugs were these, It's just like this kid like had like a raging boner, and he was just like hugging these girls and didn't know how to lean back because he was like poking a girl's thigh too much. Think about this kid's self-esteem for the rest of his life. He's fucked. Tried as an adult registered sex offender blows my mind. It's like this kid's confidence must be so fucking low growing up for the rest of his life. He hasn't even like, it's not even legal to get on Tinder and shit. It's crazy. Yeah, this kid's like self-esteem so low before he even like went through that learning curve. You know, because there's a time in a man's life like you're just gonna creep a woman out. It's just normal. We're all embarrassed by it. Shit happens. But this fucking kid, 13, shits on paper, name and everything. His self-esteem must be so low. Dating. Me, on the other hand, my self-esteem's gone up with dating because one, I found out that Magnum condoms are not actually any bigger than regular condoms. It's just all a marketing ploy. And I used to avoid them for years, mostly for fear that I wouldn't fit in them. And tried them on, it fucking worked like any other condom. Because when I would buy condoms, I tend to get the Trojan her pleasures, because I'm that kind of guy. The other reason why my self-confidence has kind of gone up is I tried OkCupid earlier this year, and after I had the profile up for a few months, I got an email saying, "Hey, congratulations, Josh! You're one of the more attractive people based on the number of clicks and views to your profile." And at the bottom of the email it said, "But don't let this get to your head. It's just numbers." And it's just like, yeah, right. Of course I'm gonna let that shit get to my head. You know how fucking insecure I am? I'm a fucking comedian. Do you think any normal person would get up here talking about their life, talking about making out with a half dude? And it's like, I don't know. Like I have a hard time like meeting women a lot of times. Because in social situations, I tend to get too high. I like to drink more than, I like to smoke rather than drink, you know? Because if I drink any amount, my face gets so fucking red. I get that Asian glow, it's horrible. There's always some asshole that comes up and be like, "Oh man, you must be fucked up." And I'm like, "No, but thanks for making me feel self-conscious in this public setting." And when I go out, like I like to smoke weed, and weed's so fucking strong nowadays that like I just get too fucking stoned. I'm like, "Ah, shit, I gotta talk to people." And then I'll just be at a party trying to keep up with conversations and shit. Like I'm just like a mumbling zombie of almost fun, just trying to keep up with conversation. Like, I remember this one time I was out at a club, and then my friend introduced me to this really beautiful woman, and we started talking, and she's like, "Hey, how's your night going so far?" And I just leaned in. Mind you, it was super high. I just leaned in, and I just breathed. I was like, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Oh my god! And I was like, "Oh shit! Say something, Josh. Say anything." And then I was like, Mercury's in retrograde." And she looked at me, she was like, "What?" And I was like, "I gotta go," and I just walked away. Wouldn't have worked out with her anyway. She didn't even know what Mercury retrograde is. Fuck her. Not spiritual enough. Yeah, one of the things I was thinking about is how, like, people's laughter is my only salvation for my low self-esteem. So I want to thank you guys for participating in my selfishness. Because if it weren't for you, I would think nothing of me. Anyways, that's my time, guys.